Well, good evening once again. Day 1152 of this Trump administration. 232 days until our presidential election. And look at that, Times Square in New York. A ghost town tonight, almost devoid of people and vehicles. Since last we spoke, our nation has changed. Not everywhere, but in some places, like the one you just saw, life outside the home or apartment has virtually shut down. Schools and businesses are closed, and the social fabric has been badly frayed. Some people's jobs are disappearing before our very eyes. The president gave himself a 10 today in terms of the response thus far. The truth is we are badly behind, of course. We're not ready for the worst of it, not even close. And the best case scenario is, since we have no idea what we're preparing for, it won't be as bad, perhaps, as the most dire predictions. Tonight, there are over 4,400 confirmed cases within the United States. That's a jump of about 1,000, give or take, in just the space of today. Over 80 people have now died from it. We have no idea how many Americans would test positive, even if they could get tested. And for millions, that's still a far-off fantasy. The alarm over the pace of infection brought much of the nation to a halt just today, emptying normally teeming streets in our cities and forcing officials to shut down restaurants and bars and gyms and movie theaters. Some 35 states have already declared formal emergencies. About the same number have closed their schools, moves that leave some 30 million students out of the classroom. Officials in the Bay Area have just laid down the most extreme measures thus far. 7 million residents have been ordered to shelter in place, stay home, avoid other people for the next 3 weeks. This comes as President Trump suggested new rules of behavior for all of us during today's briefing at the White House.
We're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days. My administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
Do you have any kind of estimate that if Americans really were to band together and do what the White House is suggesting, how quickly you could turn this corner?
People are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where it washes through. Other people don't like that term, but where it washes through.
Dr. Anthony Fauci of the CDC was willing to go a bit further.
When you're dealing with an emerging infectious diseases outbreak, you are always behind where you think you are if you think that today reflects where you really are. We hope that the people of the United States will take them very seriously because they will fail if people don't adhere to them.
This was a historically bad day for the Dow. Stocks plunged almost 3,000 points, nearly 13%. The one-day crash came even after the Federal Reserve took action on Sunday, cutting interest rates for the second time this month. They're now down to about zero. At the White House, Trump was asked about the state of the U.S. economy.
Is the U.S. economy heading into a recession?
Well, it may be. We're not thinking in terms of recession. We're thinking in terms of the virus. Once this goes away, once it goes through and we're done with it, I think you're going to see a tremendous surge.
Meantime, Washington is waiting for the Senate to react to the coronavirus bill that was passed by the House early on Saturday. That is when the senators get back tomorrow morning from their long weekend. In the meantime, state and local officials are being forced to act, and that often means acting against the White House.
This is a national problem, and we need federal leadership. You look at the countries who have handled this. I don't care if it's China, South Korea, if it's Italy. They were all handled by national leadership. This is a national problem.
The New York Times reports that on a conference call with the state governors today, Trump told them they would have to try to get some life-saving medical equipment on their own. quote, respirators, ventilators, all of the equipment. Try getting it yourselves, Mr. Trump told the governors during a conference call, a recording of which was shared with the New York Times. We will be backing you, but try getting it yourselves. Point of sales, much better, much more direct if you can get it yourself. The president did not deny that report and further elaborated.
We have stockpiles now, and we're ordering tremendous numbers of ventilators, respirators, masks, and they're ordered, and they're coming, and we have quite a few at this point. If they can get them directly, it's always going to be faster if they can get them directly, if they need them. And I've given them authorization to order directly.
And amid all of this, by this time tomorrow night, there will be big political news. Tomorrow, 4 states are scheduled to hold presidential primaries: Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio. But because of a late decision tonight, it looks like Ohio is going to kick the can down the road and hold their primary election during the first week in June. The other states all say they plan to go ahead with their elections. They say they're taking precautions to protect voters and poll workers. Back at the White House, here is how the president rated his own response.
The other day, you said that you were not responsible for the testing shortfall. Very simple question. Does the buck stop with you? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job. I would rate ourselves and the professionals. I think the professionals have done a fantastic job.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.